Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw on the King podcast. I am proudly joined by my co-host, Dopey, over here. It's been a long time, a way too long time. I mean, to be fair to me, I was on holiday. Then I got fucked by the sick bug. Can't do much about it. It is what it is. And, we're back. We're stronger than ever, in my opinion. And we've got plenty of sport topics to talk about.
Yeah, well, that does tend to happen when you have a 6-week break in between episodes. Lots of things happen in the world. So I guess that's a good thing for us. We've got no shortage of topics to talk about today. Obviously,
Absolutely.
I think we'll just get into it off the bat. The Ashes, we'll start with the Ashes. Concluded yesterday, the last test. Unfortunately, England got the win in the final session of the series. So it is officially a drawn series, but Australia retained the Ashes. But yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts on the series? It was obviously a very good series.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Look, is it biased? Okay, I know I have an Australian accent, but I am an English fan. Okay, I'm an English fan in football and cricket, basically everything, especially the Ashes. Ashes, one of my favourite series. And look, we did make the prediction. I just want to preface my argument by saying I personally made the prediction that this would be the greatest Ashes series of all time. And look, it's tough to, rival 2005. But I think it has. I think the contest as a whole, the comeback, the bowling talent, the batting talent from England, I think just stands out completely. And I think it was a great, entertaining Ashes and the best one we've seen for a while. I mean, the last one in England had its moments, especially I love the Jofra Archer-Steve Smith rivalry. Marnus Labuschagne, it was his coming out party, really, that Ashes series. I thought there were moments in that past England Ashes. However, this one, in terms of entertainment, in terms of the amount of play, even though in Manchester we got screwed by the rain, I felt as a whole, this series was probably the most amount of play we ever got from an England Ashes series, which was great to see. You want to see play as much as possible. But yeah,
Well, even the turnaround. I mean, the last series in Australia, that was maybe the worst series of all time. It was a no contest, really. And so for England to turn it around in the space of a year and a half is, 2 years?
With the same players. With similar play. I mean, Zach Crawley was in that team. Ben Duckett wasn't, but, Ollie Pope was in.
Well, Ollie Pope was shit when he played, but...
He wasn't shit. I think he was okay. Joe Root was in that team. Ben Stokes was in that team. Johnny Bairstow was in that team. Chris Wokes was in that team. Stuart Broad, James Adams. I mean, it was basically the same team.
Except you had that guy that got knocked over first ball.
Rory
Burns.
Yeah. And we had Hamid and
Hamid. Wow, I remember that.
It was a rougher time in our history. But yeah, essentially it was a really, really entertaining series. I felt, and even though it was heartbreak for Australia in that last test, I do feel like it was an evenly contested series for the most part. I think on overall play, if I'm being honest, England probably should have won 4 of the 5 tests. One discounting rain, which they would have won Manchester, so they would have won the series 3-2 anyway. But I felt like, I believe it was the first test where, England needed 2 wickets. Australia needed, 55, 60 runs. And, Lyon and Cummins, comes through and, really sets Australia up for in a really good position for the rest of the Ashes, with a really not lucky win, but a really clutch win, you could say. So, but England should have finished that game, and also the Manchester game. I mean, that's probably the biggest blowout that we got in the whole Ashes, and it was only lasted 3 days. So that was a good sign in terms of the competitiveness of the series. So yeah, overall, I was thoroughly entertained. I was in England for the first sort of couple games and a couple matches, and that was great because you got to watch it at normal times of the day and throughout the day. But when I got here, I felt even more drawn to the games because of how great the batting was. I felt like the bowling kind of took over the first couple of tests, but the last couple of tests, England especially had incredible batting performances from guys I never thought it was possible. I mean, Zach Crawley, I thought was the worst cricketer I've ever seen. He just could not get into form. He was ridiculed on social media. time after time after time, like in multiple tests leading up to the Ashes. But he turns out to be, I know, Woakes won Player of the Series and Root won Batter of the Series. I think Crawley should have definitely won Batter of the Series, in my opinion, over Joe Root. I
think Khawaja surely should have won Batter of the Series.
Are you serious?
Well, he was the leading run scorer.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
What do you mean, really?
He was shocking the past 3 tests.
He got like 70 this test.
No. Yeah, okay. The last innings he was good, but he was
he was the leading run scorer for the series.
He got 20s and 30s, and he had big score first innings in first test.
That was everyone. Root had one big score.
Well, I felt like Crawley
only had one big score.
Well, Crawley had a big score, but I felt like he also
Crawley
had
was
a number of
50s.
Number of 50s. And you may say that's recency bias, but I felt England probably were the better team throughout the series, probably the better batting team throughout the series. So I have no problem with the batting award going to an Englishman. Now, you could have done maybe Stokes for his heroics in a number of games. There are multiple sort of players to pick from, but I would have gone with Crawley personally, and I think he was the comeback. I've never seen a guy make such a turn like he did. And he's, he looks like he's young as well. So he looks like he could be, future, him and Ben Duckett could be, England's future opening pair for,
2 years.
10 plus year.
Duckett's already like 30, isn't he?
No, he's like 28, I think. So, I rate those two together. I think that's one thing to take away. Australia really struggled to get those two out. I think they had patches with obviously their quality bowling attack that they could get at the others and sort of break up partnerships throughout the middle of the order. It was sort of Harry Brook had a good game, then had a bad game. Bairstow similar, Stokes similar, Root similar. But I felt like every single innings, Duckett and Crawley would at least get to 50, 60 runs, which in prior years just did not happen. Root was in at fucking second ball every single time. So, yeah, it was a very contrasting sort of experience watching this England team, but I was glad to watch it and glad to see that we were finally competing for an Ashes, even though we didn't win it. It was a draw in the end. I felt like it was a sort of great series.
Yeah. We can briefly analyse, I guess, the two teams and where player performance, where we see them going from here. So to start with Australia, obviously David Warner had a horrendous series. His career is probably over. He might have just saved it with that last innings to get him a chance.
No way.
In the home summer.
No way.
But
if you're seriously still picking that guy, even for the fact that even if he had, a good series, which he didn't, you would still want to pick someone else because there is a time to go and you need to find a future Australian opening batter. Khawaja and Smith, not Khawaja and Smith, Khawaja and Warner together are too old. Khawaja stay in the team, sort of bring through the young guy that's going to come through, but pick a young guy. I mean, who was the...
we don't have any young guys, that's the thing.
Who was the youngster that had all those head problems?
Yeah, he's retired.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure he's retired.
So, yeah, he looked talented last time.
5 years ago.
But, well, the funny thing is, a lot of people I see on social media are clamouring for, what's his face? Bancroft.
Yeah, I know. I think he is next up.
Well, it's interesting. Sandpaper gets back again. The Sandpaper Brigade are going to be...
He's coming in for Warner as well, so...
Warner would give him a cheeky Sandpaper on the way in.
Mate, remember what I taught you.
And speaking of cheating... controversial moments in this series were not few and far between. The most controversial being the Bairstow Carey incident, where Carey, not in the spirit of the game, stumped Johnny Bairstow.
Brother.
That was clearly... I know...
No, dude, you cannot say that was bad for the sport or whatever.
I'm not saying it's bad for the sport. I'm saying it was not in the spirit of the game. Cricket has a different standard.
No. What other sport in the world... is where you do something within the rules, is it frowned upon?
There are multiple.
Like what?
Well, getting a loss when a player in football is running through one-on-one with the keeper and a defender can't get to him and he takes his legs out through on goal. That's frowned upon.
That's frowned upon, but then that's illegal. You get a red card.
Yeah, you get a red card.
Yeah.
But it's It's still within. You're still allowed to do it with. It doesn't not banned from football indefinitely. He's not.
Well,
it's the team aren't disqualified. It's
but
it's still with.
But
you're
he,
still
he
allowed
gets
to do
penalised for doing that. You don't get penalised for throwing the ball to stumps and an idiot walks out of his crease.
No. Okay, but cricket is held to a different standard, and you know it. It is.
Yeah, it's stupid though. That's what's holding it back.
No, well, if you're saying England's holding it back, then you needed to watch Australia in that.
No, I'm saying the old head mentality around it is holding it back, similar to Union. But there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It should be, like other people were saying, it should be celebrated that he came up with that and it worked.
That's such an Australian standpoint. If it happened to you, like in this test,
obviously,
all you guys are whinging about not in the spirit of the game, when the ball was changed and it got results for England, and Australia's whinging about it, and it says it's not in the spirit of the game. You're doing the same thing.
I don't mind about that.
Because it's spirit of the game. That was about, and
I don't think
it never happens. People brought up.
It does happen.
No,
you've done it before. McCullum's done it before.
No. Awani apologized after the game and said it was not. Now I don't care if he did it, and it was just a sort of gut instinct. I see it. You know, I see him walking out. I'm going to throw it. Okay, and then after the game, he said, "Look, that probably wasn't in the spirit of the game, but." At the end of the day, it got a result for my team. That's what it is. What it is. But they backed it to fucking the high hills, and that was not acceptable.
It was fair. There was literally nothing.
Okay,
bad
and people
about
brought up Bairstow doing it earlier on in the series. I don't think it might have been in the series, but the difference was that Australians could not fathom. Okay, and this was the main argument that Bairstow did it as well. So how is he complaining? I think it might have been David. I don't want to say because I don't know the exact Australian batter. But that batter was batting outside of his crease, which is a completely different scenario to what Johnny Bairstow... Because Johnny Bairstow believes that it's the end of the over. Everyone, even the umpires, believed it was the end of the over. They weren't even looking.
They didn't call over.
But they weren't looking. They turned away. We're about to call over. Then he throws the ball. Look, dude, and then I'm just
this is the highest level of sport. You have to...
I'm finishing this example.
Don't walk out of the crease until you're sure.
So... Bairstow, the reason why Bairstow threw it at the Australian batters was because they were batting out of their crease, trying to gain an advantage by getting to the ball sooner. And if you're batting outside the crease, and then the keeper throws it straight away, that's because he sees it during the live play that you're out of the crease, so he's trying to knock you out.
Yes, but Carey threw the ball
and a
before.
Man-cad, if an Australian batter, if say James Anderson or Moeen Ali got an Australian batter out with a man-cad, would you be okay with that?
What's a man-cad?
You know when they fake bowl it and the player's walking out of their crease,
and they stump him.
Would you be acceptable with that?
I would, because you're not meant to walk out of their crease.
No way.
And Mitchell Starc threatened to do it last summer, I think, on someone.
No, that's so bad.
But he didn't do it, but that is different because a ball was never bowled. The ball was bowled.
No, it's
Carey
worse.
threw it before Bairstow started walking.
But it's such...
So there's nothing he can do once the ball's left his hands. If Bairstow decides to walk,
that's
such
a dodgy tactic. Look, I didn't have a massive... I don't think it should have been blown out of proportion like it was. But it was a key moment that won you the game, essentially. And it was a dodgy moment. And look, and I think also... I do want to say this on Australia's behalf. It was exacerbated to the point it was, partly due to your reputation. Because of Sandpapergate, because of the history and the prior, and it just adds on to it. It's like a pattern, okay? And I know it's unfair. You may think it's unfair, but your players are judged to be dodgy players.
Well, it's only
Steve Smith,
it's only
David Warner, but they're still the leadership.
And
okay, you said you got rid of them from leadership positions. Steve Smith captains that side. Don't get it even twisted. David Warner is still like a high in that leadership group in that team. So the same people are in charge of the team.
Okay, what does that have to do with Alex Carey throwing the ball at the stumps?
Because I'm not saying it does, but I'm saying that the reason why it became as big as it was is because it was Australia. And the fact that you've done dodgy shit before. And this is not... it may not have been a rule break, but it was dodgy. And you cannot tell me otherwise that it was not dodgy.
It's not dodgy. It's fair.
No.
All is fair in love and war. And at the highest level of sport, you have to do whatever you can within the rules to win.
No, I disagree. I believe, especially cricket is held to a different esteem. If my team did it, I would say, mate, that's fucking dodgy. But the fact that Australians can't admit the fact that that it was a dodgy situation is beyond me.
It's not dodgy, though. It's only dodgy if you're looking at the game and, we can't play certain ways. Like, if you think it's dodgy, make a rule that you can't do that.
No, I don't think it was as bad as the media made it out to seem, but it was still a very dodgy move. And it was basically taking advantage of a person that thought the game...
Yeah, of an airhead in Johnny Bairstow who's off in space half the time.
No, but I think the umpires thought the over was done. Even the rest of the fielders thought the over was done. It was a very dodgy tactic. And now, if it's Johnny, like I said before, if Johnny Bairstow was batting outside of his crease and was, trying to take advantage of the length and trying to get to the ball quicker, I have no problem with him trying to stump. And people are saying, well, it's like a stumpings against the spirit of the game. Well, that's just a horseshit argument because the batter is batting outside of his crease again. Johnny Bairstow was not batting outside of the crease. He faced the final delivery and he walked to the centre to
without
do
looking at the keeper.
No one looks at the keeper.
Everybody does. Every single ball, they look behind them. Yes, they do.
When they miss it or they edge it, yeah. But when they hit the ball, they don't look behind.
He didn't hit it.
When they leave the ball, they don't look behind.
Yes, they do. They looked behind for the keeper.
No.
And then they walk.
I don't believe that. It's just, look, it was not in the spirit of the game, no matter what you say. And,
Well, spirit of the game is a retained ashes. That's what it is.
That is the most. I've heard that all day.
It's been what, four series in a row? Is it something like that?
Well, we retained it. Fuck it. What a victory that is.
Well, you can't celebrate anything.
You shouldn't be celebrating anything. You were the worst team in 4 out of the 5 tests.
And
you got saved by the rain. You did the rain dance at 3:00 in the morning. That is embarrassing.
Mate, you can't go to England and not expect rain. At least one test is going to be drawn.
Yeah, but the test that was in question was the one where we were absolutely pumping you, and you got rained off for 2 days. If you had 1 day of action, we would have beaten you. So,
well, I mean, yeah. Well, we'll leave that. That was one controversial moment. I guess the other one was probably the Mitch Starc catch.
No, I think that wasn't a catch. Come on, like Stokes' catch yesterday wasn't a catch.
No,
because he didn't have control of it.
But Stark's one, he never lost the ball.
You cannot catch the ball and then put it on the ground. In fact, he didn't catch it, didn't bring it.
I'd never seen that type of ruling before in my life. It looks better
because the time is slowed. But he basically uses the ground as his stabilizing. You know how?
Yeah, because he's falling over, so he needs to put his hands out.
No way. When players are falling over, they put their elbows out. That's how they do it. And yes, sometimes they drop the ball.
Well, he's just falling a different way.
No, that is no way a catch.
Look, I was...
Have you played cricket? No, I've played cricket.
I have played cricket, actually.
No, you haven't played
Yes, I have played cricket.
Playing it on a fucking Tuesday lunch in school does not count.
I've played cricket.
No.
Yes.
Mate, trust me, that is that's not a wicket.
Well, I've watched a lot of cricket, and I've never seen that not called a catch.
What? That was not a catch. No way is that a catch. No way.
Well, most people I saw said it was a catch, so...
You live in Australia. Of course, everyone thinks...
No, even the English commentators, half of them said it was a catch. So, yeah.
I think it was the right decision. No catch. And that's not biased. If that happened, again, like Stokes, that was not a catch. You could say the same thing. He had possession of it, but he lost it within a second.
Yeah, but he lost it. Like, Starc never lost it.
He did. That putting the ball on the ground. Like in a try and rugby. It's like rugby league. If a player uses the ground... when they're planning a try and they're using the ground and it's not a try.
Well, it is a try.
Oh, sorry. If it's a knock on, if they use the ball while picking up and rolling the ball, put their hands on top of the ball, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but the ball never rolled.
It did roll. If it's in his hand, it's
if
rolling.
A rugby league ball is on the ground and you put your hand on it, that's not a knock on.
No, but if you roll and
if the ball rolls under your hand, then yes.
No, that was a complete drop. No, it wasn't a complete drop, sorry. It was not a wicket at all. You cannot catch the ball and in the same motion put it on the ground.
No, but he's had it clearly in his hand, grasped, controlled before it hits the ground, and as he's falling, he hasn't grasped
control. He's used the ground as control.
No, he definitely had the ball before he hit the ground. And then he's just bracing for impact and reaching out.
Bracing for impact. Players brace for impact in so many different ways. Why has this never been talked about before? Because no one does that. Why in all the driving catches in every test match does no one ever do that? Because no one thinks it's a catch. Because every player knows you have to get under the ball to catch it.
Yeah, but that's if you're diving for it. Like, he already had it, and he was just falling over, so he's like, oh, I'll just put my hands out. But,
No.
yeah, another howler by the refs there.
The umps.
All I'm saying is we were robbed. It should have been 3-2.
Should have been 3-2.
Anyway, another series that we did not win in England. So this group of Australians, they will not go down as one of the greatest Australian teams, unfortunately for them.
Well, they're very old. They're a very old
Yeah.
Australian team. So.
But, I mean, if they had won this series, they would have been up there with the prime Ricky Ponting teams and all that, and the Shane Warne teams, and all those sorts of things. But they butchered it, so unlucky to them. Again, pretty much the entire team won't be there next time they're in England. So, but England also have a really old team. I looked at it the other day.
Broad is old. Obviously, he's
Broad,
retired now.
Anderson, Wokes, they're all old. Ali's just retired. Stokes is old. Root's old.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
not for cricket players.
They're in their mid-30s.
No, they're not. They're 31.
No, Stokes is 33. Root's 34.
Rudy's not 34. He's 32.
Well, they're in there. That's what they've got 3 years left.
They've got another 2 Ashes left. That's not old in cricket.
Well, I mean, when you're in your mid-30s, you're pushing it. And with Stokes' body, he'll be done next year.
No, Stokes got 2 more Ashes in him.
I doubt that.
Yeah, Root's 32.
He's 37 in 2 more Ashes.
Zach Crawley is relatively young. Harry Brook is young, who's a future, I think 4 or 5 for England. And he's currently is. Ben Duckett is prime.
Yeah, so you got like 3
Ollie Pope,
players.
even though you say he's shit, he's been very solid. And he's young. There's a lot of young talent. Chris Wokes is old. Mark Wood's a bit older. Jofra Archer, who hasn't played in this series through injury, he's young. So I think it's a bit of a mix. You always get that in, I think, cricket. They can play longer. So you do get more experienced side than you would in other professional teams. But yeah, for sure, it's a lot older for Australia, I think. I mean, the nucleus. I don't know how you're going to replace any of those players. I don't see. Is there any like young guy that you're thinking, oh, he is talented? Is Cameron Green? They try to bring Cameron Green. He's shit.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we got Baggy Green. Obviously, he's the future. Nathan Lyon, he can play till he's 40.
Todd Murphy.
Nathan Lyon, Todd Murphy. But Nathan Lyon, that was a massive loss. It was no coincidence that we turned to dog
he's
shit.
old.
He's old, but we turned to dog shit when he got injured.
Yeah.
The balance of the bowling attack was completely off. So he's very important. Obviously the 2 openers, like Khawaja, I think he'll play in Australia, and then that'll probably be him done. Smith,
Same deal.
he could play another Ashes. He's 34, I think. Labuschagne, he's young, so he'll be
He's
there.
not young.
He's in his 20s.
He's 29, I think.
Yeah, so he's got 7 years left.
But he's the only guy you could say like back in England in 4 years' time.
But even
him,
he's getting fucking exposed as being shit overseas.
Yeah, and he's not.
He was trash.
He is awful overseas. If you look, I think it showed the stats on the TV screen. It was shocking away from home.
Yeah,
like,
he's only
shocking.
had 2 centuries away from home.
With one of them in this series.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think, look, good Ashes series. Controversial moments, but really entertaining. And can't wait for Australia in 2 years.
Yep, we got a great series of cricket to look forward to, with a 2-test series against the West Indies and a 3-test series against Pakistan.
I think we've got India next.
So that is going to be fucking dreadful to sit through, but whatever. That's the problem with Test match.
Surely against the West Indies, because they're that crap, you can put even just the youngest, most potential guys in there, like replace a bunch of the old bowlers. Just try and get, who are your young fast bowlers? Who are you going to pick?
I don't know. I mean, is Billy Stanlake, is he...
He's just T20.
I don't know. We got could Stoinis play Test?
Doubt it. I mean, Bazball maybe, but I don't think Australian Test team.
I don't know.
It's just,
we don't really have many.
You don't have any.
We got Jai Richardson. He's all right.
I don't know. Look, it's a tough one, but yeah, I mean, England are gonna have to do the same. Jimmy Anderson and Broad just retired. Jimmy Anderson should probably
Sean
retire.
Abbott, he could have a go.
No.
He's all right.
Even he's a bit older. I mean, you've got the youth talent that you've tried to bring in has not succeeded. So we'll see.
We'll see. Okay, shifting gears, shifting sports as you have a attack there. NBA. I don't know what we talked about last time. I think we previewed sort of how the draft prospects were looking. Wembanyama, shit first game, good second game, and then they've sat him. So that's all we get to see of him until the season starts, most likely. But yeah, what else happened in the NBA? Oh yeah, Jaylen Brown signed his contract.
Yeah.
Congrats to him.
Congrats, bro. I mean, you got a bag, but you still can't dribble left. So that's a problem, maybe.
Well, he's the highest paid player ever in NBA history, and he can't dribble left. So that's a good lesson, kids. Just get good at dribbling one way.
Yeah, NBA news was a bit slow. There's no free agency news. There's no...
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about the ESPN layoff situation going on, where basically they fired half of their existing talent roster.
Shocking.
And a lot of them were people that I enjoyed watching, listening to. I think the big ones were Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, obviously from the commentary team. They're usually with Mike Breen. You would hear them in the finals, commentating the games. And they were, in my opinion, they were a great trio of commentators because Jeff Van Gundy was like the negative good guy, I guess. He would always be questioning refs' calls and players' calls and coaches' calls and all that sort of shit. And then, they've sacked them for what is apparently going to be Doris Burke and Mark Jackson. I mean, not Mark Jackson.
Absolute
Doc
joke.
Rivers. And I mean, if there's one voice that isn't meant to be commentating sports, it's probably Doc Rivers.
I mean, what insight are you going to give me, bro? Oh, okay. You blow series. I mean, in the playoffs, how is he going to be commentating?
I don't know.
Look, the fact that they sacked, they're probably doing it obviously because of money issues, but like, come on, they are the people in the finals that you watch every year. They have iconic moments together. The Golden State Cleveland rivalry. That's them commentating. I don't know. I understand firing Mark Jackson now because basically without, even though he's got memes and stuff like that, without Jeff Van Gundy, he's a bit of a rudderless ship. Doesn't provide that much great insight. And Jeff Van Gundy, he was the most entertaining guy on the place.
He was.
But yeah, it's just sad for ESPN. Yeah. Look, Doris Burke is talented.
She's a sideline reporter.
But yeah, she knows her stuff. Props to her. She has experience in the game. But she's just not an entertaining voice to listen to. And that's not because of her gender at all. It's just the fact that she has a bland voice. She doesn't really, Jeff Van Gundy makes comments. So you're like, damn, that was funny. Damn, that was fucking insane. Damn, that was a bit intense. He makes comments that are pushing the boundary. That's why everyone loves Charles Barkley, because he's just himself. It feels like Doris, she's always just saying what she thinks we want to hear. And it's just,
she's a bit of a superstar D-rider.
That's the thing. I've never heard her say a bad word about anyone. Jeff Van Gundy roasts the people that got him delivery pizza yesterday. I mean, it just feels like the dynamic there is not going to connect at all. And it's just going to prove that TNT is by far the better network.
Yeah. I mean, they also let go of Max Kellerman. I actually enjoyed Max when he was on First Take.
I didn't. People flamed Stephen A for getting off the show because he wanted to change it. Now, I don't agree what they've changed it to now. I mean, it's just that anyone goes on. I mean, you could probably get on that fucking show.
Yeah.
But I do think they need a stable sort of number 2 guy, but I didn't think Max Kellerman, Stephen A, there was no conversation. I think Shannon Sharp, now he's a free agent.
Well, that's who Stephen A wants, apparently.
If he gets that is a great combo.
Skip. But he can't say Skip anymore. What's he going to say? Steven.
Yeah.
Stephen A.
Yeah, it's probably like that.
Listen to here. LeBron James.
I think he is entertaining. I think Stephen A are entertaining. I think together they'll clash. I just don't think Max Kellerman. It was very forced. Sorry, I'm sick. It was very forced. It felt like even the Iguodala stuff.
It was forced, but that's
bullshit.
funny. That was funny.
Yeah, but It's funny,
he said-
like
and he-
once or twice.
And he had this narrative that Kawhi Leonard was better than Kobe for like a whole entire season after the Raptors championship.
Well,
No, stop.
it turns out
Stop.
that all-round
Stop.
player.
Stop.
Look, he's not as historic and mentality-wise, he's nowhere near Kobe, but like, if you talk at overall skill set, Kawhi is a top 10 talent of all time. So that's not like outlandish to say. He said that Tom Brady would fall off a cliff, and then like in the next 6 years, he had like 3 Super Bowls or something. But after that, 3 or 4 ones, it just seems manufactured. And in the everyday show, it didn't seem like there was enough entertainment. So I didn't hate that. And his writing was really on the wall once he got shoved to like Keyshawn and
Keyshawn, did he go? He should go.
I don't think he did. I don't think
that guy literally sounds like he knows nothing about basketball whenever he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
He's hard to listen to. But also Jalen Rose, he was very well loved by his peers at ESPN. Everybody talks well about him. Stephen A., Mike Wilbon, all those guys. Apparently it was something to do with Malika Andrews. She got the ick or something about.
Well, she's annoying.
She's becoming the most hated NBA.
Well, because
analyst.
people thirsted on her, but like people
She's
forget.
so left, it's scary.
No, we're not getting into politics on the show, but people forget that of the Giannis Malika Andrews.
Yeah.
She got absolutely flamed for asking a stupid question, but she got rewarded with this fucking.
Well, the Brandon Miller thing on draft night, she basically, the way she worded
Oh
it,
my
sounded
God,
like
that-
he was a murderer.
It's like
he was a
everything.
murderer.
She's trying to not get cancelled for anything. Every single player. Oh, well, he stole lollies in the 5th grade.
It's like,
It's like-
brother.
Bro, calm the fuck down. These are the best night of their lives, and you're fucking going on like he's a serial murderer. He should be in jail.
And she's bringing up like stuff that they've been cleared of in the eyes of the law, like 0 charges,
It's like
nothing.
the draft night is a celebration. It's not for you to bring up the rap sheet or not everyone's fucking.
And it's like
history.
even when that guy died a couple of years ago, she was like, he paid a $100 fine 13 years ago. It's important to remember that. It's like, dude, he's just been shot. Like,
yeah, it's like
what are you doing?
Yeah, I do. And look, she's told to say that probably.
I don't know if she is.
Oh, or she probably is. Well, no one else is saying it, so maybe she's volunteering saying. I don't know, but yeah, she's bad. But I think Jalen Rose. I mean, the guy. I don't know. Well, look, I didn't love the guy on watching him, but
No, man.
the fact that he was fired shocked me because he's on every fucking ESPN show. NBA Countdown. He's on First Take. He's on Get Up. He's on Jalen and Jacob. He's on every fucking show. So the fact that they fired him, it was a bit surprising. It almost seems in retrospect now that he was on that many shows because he's on so much fucking money that they have to get some sort of value out of him. But yeah, I was shocked when that happened. I can't understand it personally. And look, if ESPN, if you're hiring, we'd love to take over.
Yeah.
Can we get the slot? I mean, surely
We'll be more knowledgeable than Keyshawn. I know that.
But that, I mean, people, and that's the argument that a lot of people I don't like that argument personally because people are not, fucking the commentators, the color commentators that are former NBA players are not put on there because they know more.
No.
Like your average NBA fan knows more about basketball.
No, but he is like so bad. Like everything he says, he's asking a question to Jay Williams. He's like, so when they put it in the basket, that means they win, right, Jay? And then like everything he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like, if I'm not mistaken, LeBron James has won like 7 championships, right, Jay? And then he'll be like, no,
Well,
bro.
you can tell the difference between, talkers or I don't know, presenters on these different panels, and you can tell the difference between good ones and bad ones. Because the bad ones just think they're making everything up on the spot. They have nothing planned. They don't know what they're talking about, so they just bunny hop off what the last person said and just hope that it's good enough, and then they get their fucking $100,000, not $100,000, $1 million salary in the mail. So, look, I don't hate it. It happens in this country as well. I mean, some of the rugby league commentators, not commentators, but presenters, should I say, that are former players, are not freaking good. I mean, I love
Sonny Bill Williams. What?
That's a bit far. I mean, Sonny Bill, but again, Sonny Bill is not hired because he's just this knowledgeable, like Zen master of a commentator.
No,
he's
he's
hired
like,
because
"What's up,
he's Sonny
Moso?"
Bill. He's hired because people want to watch Sonny Bill Williams and want to hear what he wants to say. So no matter if it's bad or good. So that's why those people are hired, and that's why they're on TV. Not because they've got great insight. So if you're like watching pre-game shows or you're watching every channel on ESPN and watching every show on ESPN because you want the insight, well, I'd advise you don't. I'd advise go on YouTube, go on any podcast that you want, and you'll find better knowledge from them than you will from most ESPN shows. Because general people like us, I'm not saying we're the most knowledgeable, but there are tons of people like us who just watch so much sport and get into the details of it and love being invested in sport. I mean, we both work in sport, so we love sport. So yeah, there are tons and tons of people that know more than these ESPN guys. So if you feel bad for them for losing their jobs, I mean, you shouldn't because they're not that good at their job. But
no,
that is it at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it'll be a different looking sort of NBA, I don't know, TV, I don't know. Their shows are going to look different this year with the changing of the personnel. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, moving gears, we can chat a little bit about NRL at the moment. Speaking of sports that we work in, I don't work in it, but I
don't either. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, NRL, obviously my team, the Roosters, not doing too good at the moment. So, there's not much to talk about. We're just so...
Well,
one week we're good,
we
one
talk
week we're
about the
bad.
Panthers for about an hour.
I mean, we should talk about who... Just quickly, we'll run a quick segment on it. Who do you think are the top two contenders?
Well, it's Penrith first and the Panthers second.
That was so smart.
Nice.
I thought you were actually going to be non-biased for a second.
Well, there's no one in a comparable.
Well, I think
region
Brisbane
to
are.
us.
People are saying Brisbane.
Brisbane is two, but they're a long two, distant two.
I don't. People are saying Brisbane. Oh well, Brisbane. They don't have to colour their jib. They're not experienced in the postseason. I disagree. I think that you don't really need experience. I think experience is overrated. You just need to play well against quality sides.
What young team goes in first go in the finals?
Well, I mean, look. Well, I'd have to pick up different sort of examples.
Well, there is none.
In terms of NRL. I mean, we were crap in terms of the Roosters. We were crap in 2012. Win it in 2013. But NBA, Golden State Warriors had got a first round exit. The season before they won the championship, and they're the same exact team the next year. So I think it's a bit overrated postseason and postseason experience. Sorry, because there's plenty of teams. I mean, Melbourne have had postseason experience. Rabbitohs have had postseason experience for the past 7 years, and they haven't won. So I think postseason experience is a bit overrated in my opinion. But you have to look at how they play and look at the team and can it perform in the playoffs. And I look at the elite forward pack, the talent, the unbelievable back line. I mean, Herbie Farnworth is putting up an unreal season. He's probably top 3 center in the game at this point. He is unreal.
Well, he doesn't pass. So.
Tony Staggs is unreal. Their wingers are unreal. Their fullbacks unreal. They're 6 and 7. Even though that.
When did you become a closet Brisbane fan?
I'm not a closet Brisbane fan, but I watched the game last week and I'm like, far out.
Who did they beat?
Who on earth
was it against Roosters?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they fucked you guys. Oh yeah.
Can you not be so vulgar with your language, please?
Oh well, I mean that was you guys were up for that as well. You were like, look, we're still a chance here, boys. We can win every game.
Okay.
He came out.
I've had enough of your.
He came out, tried
chit-chat.
your best. Jared thought he was doing something. He's gone. He's
I've
cooked.
had enough of your chit chat. All right,
He's done.
You played solid.
You played solid and lost
We
by
lost.
30. Good job.
But no, look, I think they've got everything in terms of roster talent to win it. Now, there are question marks around the head coach, and I have question marks too. But if people are saying what I'm hearing in the media, people are not giving the Broncos any chance.
I just think that this is not being biased. I just think that people have concluded that Penrith are going to win without a major injury. So I don't think
Penrith haven't looked as good as they have been in the past 2 years.
They've been pretty close.
I don't think so.
They've got the best defense in the comp by 6 points a game.
But that's what I'm saying. I think if you come up against Brisbane with all that offensive talent, I don't think you'll stop them. Now I think you'll have to beat those guys in a shootout. And look, you can do it. I think you can do it. You've got the offensive talent to do it. But are you containing like 6 players? Like there's 6 genuine players on that Broncos back line that could by themselves break the game open. So I don't know personally. And they've got an elite forward pack that generate dangerous meters and can win the field position battle easily. So that's another thing.
Look, if it's Brisbane in the grand final, I'll take that because fuck Brisbane. So it'd be nice to beat them.
But who would you least like to see in the grand final if you get there?
I don't know. Like the teams that I think could do something. I mean, Rabbitohs, if they get on a run, they've got the stars there. Storm, if Pappenhausen comes back and looks good, you never know. Cowboys maybe, but that's about it. And then Broncos.
Cows.
Like Raiders and Warriors are probably going to finish top 4, and then I wouldn't give them a realistic chance, and they're going to finish top 4. So, and when you finish outside the top 4, you're pretty much fucked. So,
well, fair. I think that's fair, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. The Panthers will probably win the three-peat, and that's the end of that. Speaking of other teams that did the three-peat, Man City coming off a treble. Have they done anything exciting in the off-season?
Well, this is the funny thing, okay, that happened with Man City. So essentially, Fabrizio Romano is regarded in the Twitter world, in the footballing journalism world as premier number 1.
It's the Woj.
Yeah, essentially. And the funny thing that happens is, you know Josko Guardiola?
No.
He's a Croatian centre-back, one of the most highly talented young players in the world. Now, when Fabrizio says, here we go, sorry, when Fabrizio says, here we go, usually, it means it's a done deal, it's signed, and he does it before any club announces it, before any other journalist does it. And it's every single time, it's right. This time, he said, here we go for this guy, for £90 million, some ridiculous money. But it turns out it wasn't gone. It wasn't completely done. And they had hurdles at the final steps of the negotiations. And on Twitter, you know how on Twitter, how Elon added that fake news sort of thing at the bottom? If there's fake news, there's like this little caption at the bottom that they put.
Fake news?
Well, they don't put fake news, but they put, this news is not accurate for blah-de-blah reason. Well, and it gives context. It's like a context.
It's called X now.
Okay. So it's a little context thing at the bottom. And it happened on this tweet, and he's been getting flamed for it. Because essentially the deal hadn't been done and he sort of did it prematurely.
He's jumped the gun.
So he jumped the gun there. Man City don't really need to do much. They sold Mahrez to a Saudi Arabian team. I think it was Al Hilal.
That's where he's from, isn't it?
No, I think he's Algerian, mate. So
sorry, Riyadh.
That's a bit racist. But yeah, so essentially Man City and a lot of top Premier League clubs. Liverpool sold Fabinho for 40 million. Hendo, they sold Henderson.
So he's gone to Saudi.
Yeah. Have you seen this?
He's linked up with Gerrard, hasn't he?
Yeah. Have you seen those Gerrard videos?
Where it's like, I can finally talk to someone?
No.
Oh.
So essentially, well, first his introduction, he had to speak at, you know, on like social media, how they post like a video of like, I'm here, hi fans, you know, that sort of jazz. He had to do that, but he had to speak in Arabic. It was the funniest thing ever. He's like, hey, boy, don't. And it's like, he clearly had no clue what he was saying, which is fair enough, but he made it so bad.
How does he talk to the players?
And that's moving on to my next point. It was a leaked footage of training, his first training. And he's saying, come here. They're not coming there because they don't understand English. And he's like, oh, fuck off, go back. And he's just like speaking in English to them, and they're like, huh? And
he's just probably like going, think about the money, Stephen. Think about the money, Stephen.
And he had El Atifak were one of the clubs that didn't actually sign anyone at that point, and he's like, God, I got to get some people that I know. So he got Hendo over there. He got Dembele, Musa Dembele.
Usama or Musa?
Musa. The striker from Lyon. But yeah, Ousmane Dembele, talking about that just briefly, he's been linked with the link to Paris Saint-Germain. They agreed a clause, but they couldn't finalise the release clause that he had, which was 50 million, I think, and it's now 100 million. Complicated situation, but it hasn't happened. Big news is Mbappe. That's the big boy news.
Well, yeah, well, they offer him 700 mil.
Crazy money. Absolutely stupid, crazy money. $1 billion, projected around 1.1 billion. in terms of because he makes so much money from image rights and that sort of stuff. His base salary was fucking ridiculous. And it was just the craziest thing you've ever heard of. The money that was offered for a 1-year contract, and he could go to PSG the year after. Imagine earning 1.1 billion, and then on a 1 year, in 1 year you make 1.1 billion.
Why would he go back to PSG? He wants out.
Well, and he rejected it, which was the funniest thing ever. So essentially, PSG are saying, "Mate, you're clearly gonna leave us in a year. We're just not gonna play you then." So the most likely situation at this point is,
why doesn't Real Madrid just buy him?
Because he'll cost a shit ton of money, and they know they're gonna get him in a year anyway. So essentially, what's happening is he's being kept, or the most likely situation is he probably won't play this year.
What?
That is the most likely situation, which is crazy to me.
He turned down $1 billion just to not play.
Well, I think he still believes that PSG will let him play this year. But I don't think
Is Neymar still there?
Yeah, he's still there. But again, he doesn't want to be there, but he's just kept there because no one will pay his salary.
Yeah, you're an antique at this point. You're not going anywhere.
But yeah, that's essentially the interesting situation there. Look, I can go through team.
But yeah, it's like it is crazy because I think on the last podcast I said, could Saudi damage the European leagues in terms of diluting the talent?
Yeah,
and it is happening.
I wouldn't say
even though they're all old players, but
well, yeah, it is somewhat. I think when you're getting guys like Ruben Neves, like Milinkovic-Savic, like Koulibaly, who would walk into a lot of top 6 clubs in, the big 5 leagues, that is worrying to an extent. However, I don't think it's detrimental. There's been, in talking about Man United, if you want to talk about more detailed ones, so essentially Arsenal got Rice over the line. I don't know if I talked about it, probably did. They got Rice over the line, and they're actually targeting David Raya, the Brentford goalie, to replace Aaron Ramsdale, who apparently, according to Arsenal fans, is the best keeper in the world. But he's essentially on the verge of getting replaced.
Well, isn't he the English keeper?
He's not even starting for England, but everyone fucking hypes him up to be this great keeper, when in reality, he's not that good.
Do they have Leno?
Oh, mate, how bad is your... He left 5 years ago.
No.
He left 3 years ago, mate.
He was there in the Arsenal doc, I know that.
He would have been at the start. He would have left immediately. But yeah, but Man United, we've signed Onana. I like the signing. We need to replace De Gea. It just
Where'd De
needed to
Gea
happen.
go? Did he go Saudi?
He's still a free agent,
Okay.
linked with Bayern, funny enough.
Is Neuer still playing?
He's very injury prone, Neuer, and they're looking for a number 1 keeper. So he's linked there. He's linked with Saudi teams as well. But Onana, necessary, unbelievable with his feet, basically another midfielder in the team. And yeah, he's a solid shot stopper as well. He's familiar with Ten Hag, was Ten Hag's goalie when they went to the semi-finals and lost famously to Tottenham. So yeah, very similar. Knows Ten Hag very well. And then we just signed Højlund. It hasn't been officially...
Haaland?
Højlund.
I got excited there.
But yeah, essentially we signed Højlund. Really talented young kid. 20 years old, striker, big, can dribble. Is not Haaland. Everyone's trying to compare him to Haaland. He's not Haaland, but he's very talented, and he'll be probably splitting reps with Martial at striker.
Well,
and
he's not gonna take Veghorst's place, is he?
Weghorst is gone.
Oh.
Thank God. He was at Burnley. He's at Burnley.
That guy took 20 games to score 1 goal.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for him, but he just wasn't Man United quality. So yeah, that's essentially the news at the moment. Maguire's been linked with a move out, but we rejected a bid for him. The reason I don't know why, but
Is he still captain?
no. Again, another news: Bruno Fernandes is
Okay.
the new captain of Manchester United. Harry Maguire was replaced.
Bruno Fernandes.
So yeah, big news. Obviously, Money Mount we'd already talked about going to Man United. Sofian Amrabat is linked as well as who's another midfielder who started in the World Cup for Morocco, who obviously did very well in the Men's World Cup. But yeah, really, really interesting window so far. There's tons of news. It's my kind of news as well. Transfer news, love it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Man United and the rest of the Premier League teams.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm struggling, but
Yeah,
I have
sounds
a fucking...
like a real challenge.
have you heard of JFK Jr.?
No.
Yeah, well, if you watch JFK Jr., he's like the presidential candidate, and he talks like that. He's like, because he has like something wrong with his he had like a mental thing.
Like
He's actually
Darren Lockyer.
I actually don't mind him. He had a really good podcast with Joe Rogan, but he sounds worse. He's like that. He's like he's stumbling on words.
Right.
But trust me, it's a sickness. I don't have a permanent damage to my larynx.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, I'm praying. We'll see.
Everybody, we can hope and pray.
For good news, obviously.
Yeah. Speaking of people that don't have permanent damage, what a transition. Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen has won another Grand Prix. You're not going to believe it.
God, it's so boring.
I mean, we'll have a general chat about where the F1 season's at, because it is a good season, apart from Max Verstappen, which is making it a terrible season. But yes, Max Verstappen, I think he's like 100 and something points ahead of second. So
Max Verstappen.
That's good. But I guess the big news recently in F1 is obviously the return of Daniel Ricciardo to the grid. He was only out for, what was it, 8 races, 9 races? I don't know. Yeah. Nick de Vries with probably the shortest F1 career in history. So congratulations to him. That sucks to be you. So Daniel.
Well, it doesn't really suck to be him, does it?
Okay, it doesn't suck, but
he's a lot better in life than we are.
In terms of being a Formula One driver, it sucks to be you. So yeah, Helmut Marko, the boss at Red Bull, obviously loves Danny Rick. Christian Horner loves him. Max Verstappen loves him. They've given him.
Max Verstappen loving anyone other than himself is a bit far.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's incredible he loves Danny Rick. So they've given him the. What is it called? Toro Rosso? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
No, it's AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri seat, and basically this is a trial for him for that Red Bull seat in either next year or 2 years' time.
He's not doing too well in the trial.
Well, there's been 2 races.
It's like he's got through 10 questions of the maths test, and he's got all 10 of them wrong. So it's not been the best of stuff.
I'd say he's at 7 out of 10.
What?
Well, he outqualified Yuki in the first race. He finished 13th.
He's finished 18th and 19th.
No, he finished 13th in the first race. And then he finished 10th in the sprint. And then
no points.
Yeah, but still. And then his lap time got deleted in quali, which would have had him into Q2. He qualified 18th and then finished 18th or whatever. So it was a shit day yesterday, but...
Well, it's early, but it's not looking good. And I think the main topic of the conversation is, has he been surpassed as the best Australian driver on the grid? I think so. Piastri...
Well, it's very easy to say that when Piastri's finishing 5th every week.
Well, I'm saying... Well, look, you can talk about cars, and no one was saying that when Piastri was mellowing in the backfield at the start of the season with McLaren. And I think he is showing that he is a top quality guy. I know you don't like him, but he is top quality. Competing with Lando, and Lando's probably top 5 best drivers on the grid that, most people agree. He is so highly touted, Lando Norris. And the fact that he is competing with that guy just shows how big of a talent he is. How old is he? 20, 22? Around that.
He's young.
He's very, very good. And it shows why, he was so highly sought out, even though it was so funny on Twitter when he rejected Alpine on Twitter. But that's why he was clamoured over by, not like Williams like you usually do, but by solid midfield, cars. He was very, very highly touted. Won, F2 last year. And it's showing why.
Yeah, he is doing well.
And do you still like? Are you going to warm to him? Is my question.
It's nothing against Oscar. He's just a little.
He has your name and everything.
I know. He's just a little bit dry personality wise. He's not.
Just not everyone's Danny Rick.
Well, that's
Verstappen's
why you like Danny
dry.
Rick. That's why everyone likes Danny Rick.
Well, a lot of people like Max Verstappen, and he's dry.
He's not dry. He's just cocky to an infuriating point. which makes you hate it. I mean, that conversation he had on the radio in the race about doing pit stop practice. I mean, somebody just snipe his tires, please. He needs to crash. And I used to like Max Verstappen when he was coming up, but brother, if you're not Dutch, it's hard to like him at this point. But yeah, I mean, maybe he's just nervous because it's his first year on the grid, so I'm sure I will grow to love him at some point, like he's my own. But just at the moment, he's not
doing it for
grabbing my attention like that. You know?
Well, yeah, look, he's talented, but you know he's got to prove it over a full season. That he's going to be in a top car in seasons to come. But he is the fact that he was doing so well yesterday as well.
He crashed in the first lap.
Well, not yesterday, sorry, but the day before. But I mean,
did he crash? Pretty sure he crashed.
No, sorry, in the sprint race it was. He finished second, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe.
So look, he's very talented, and hopefully we'll see more good results from Piastri. It's good for Australian racing.
Yeah, and it's the McLaren's like sudden improvement out of nowhere has sort of
shocked
created
everyone.
This 4-team battle for second between Mercedes.
I mean, Lando Norris was leading the British Grand Prix. It was like heaven.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching, a race again. It was stars. I didn't have to pretend that the race was from second to 20.
Well, after 2 laps, it was from second to 20. But
2 good laps. It gave me 2 good laps.
Yeah, 2 good laps.
And then DRS got switched on, and fucking Max Verstappen was like a.
Well, he doesn't need DRS. He needs he probably needs a minus DRS to make it competitive. But
yeah.
I mean, it's an intriguing battle between Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, and Aston Martin. From week to week, they sort of interchange their positions based on packages they bring to the track, the layout of the track. So that's always exciting. I mean, Ferrari, again, they suck strategy-wise. I think they have like a idiot test that they do during their interviews for job positions.
And if you succeed in that test, then you get hired.
Yeah, so like if you come up as not an idiot, they do not hire you. Yeah. So,
mate, come on.
They've continued their good strategy form, which is nice to see. But I mean, Aston Martin, Lance Stroll, he's a joke. I mean,
well, he did okay last race.
When your teammate is in third in the championship and you're in like ninth, there's something wrong with you. So,
well, I mean, he's just going to have the seat forever, though, isn't he?
He is going to have the seat, but that doesn't change the fact that he's a joke of a driver. Who else? Lewis and Russell. I mean, they're probably like they're pretty even.
Well, I haven't heard anything from them. I mean, they've been competitive, but they've been like 5th, 6th. Lewis gets the occasional podium, but it's really just, and surprisingly, Mercedes just have not been anywhere near probably the second team for the last. I mean, they started off probably the second team on the grid, but probably the last 6-7 races, they just haven't been in that mix yet. So, yeah, we'll see.
We will see. Hopefully, they all get really.
Well, hopefully Mercedes can get their old car back. And they can loosen those restrictions, because apparently F1, by making those restrictions in the first place, was making it more competitive. But it seems like F1 is probably the least competitive it has ever been.
Well, it was competitive because obviously Mercedes came back to the pack, but then Red Bull somehow, with all their budgets, they've spent a lot of money on catering apparently. So that's where they went over.
But you got to feed the drivers.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of staff in there. You got to feed them the best. So you got to have filet mignon. They got to have caviar. They got to
exactly. I mean, you can't have them driving on an empty stomach. That's not good for anyone.
No way.
So
buffets, they probably cost a lot of money to set up a buffet around.
They would I think 40 to 50 million.
Yeah, those bacon eggs, they were from premium chickens and pigs.
Yeah, those things they're cooked to order. Chefs are flown in. It's the whole ordeal. The whole ordeal.
But yeah, they somehow have maneuvered their way past. It's kind of like Melbourne Storm in 2008, 2009, which is
they flaunted
another controversy, which was, I thought, hilarious. The fact that they think they still get to just show them around. And that was another thing Gordon Tallis was saying.
Yeah.
Well, it was a private event. It was in front of the entire stadium.
Yeah.
That for a game.
It literally says 2009 on it.
It's not like you bring out like the amount of trophies, like was it 5 trophy like premierships? It's not like you bring out the amount of premierships and one player's holding each, and you don't know which one's which. And well, they've got 2 more here. Are you counting the taken away ones? It's not like that. They've literally like had an individual celebration for those 2 trophies, which they clearly cheated to get. I mean, Greg Inglis. He must have been on $1 a week. I mean, the guy was on minimum wage and he was the best center in the league. It was blasphemous.
Yeah. So that was funny. And then Gordy defending is a fucking idiot, mate.
It's because he took the money at every station. Like he literally took the highest offer, no matter what it morally did. He just is known as the guy that took the money.
Well, he went on strike back in the day for the Dragons. He refused to play for them because he wanted to go to Brisbane. So yeah, and he's obviously on 360 now. So you're seeing a lot more of his rugby league opinions.
I mean, on the Matty John show, he wasn't good enough. That conversation, he wasn't adept enough, and they were just joking around the whole time. I don't know why he's on a actual.
It is a strange choice because he's never shown that much. Because NRL 360 is kind of a more serious show.
Yeah, you talk about the news, the daily news in sport in NRL. Sorry,
and he's never been that sort of a guy.
He's just like a guy that Fletch and Hindy sort of take the rib out of. Like, he's not. Like, I don't know.
But obviously Fox League are running low on troops at the moment.
Yeah, it's like if ESPN hired Kwame Brown to be
Imagine Kwame Brown and Stephen A. Wow.
That would actually not be a bad hire, now that I think of it. Even just like a guest appearance, just the look on each other.
What do you think about the trade for Pau Gasol? Who cares? They got rid of Kwame Brown. Yeah.
That would actually not be a bad. I think I would watch that. So I'm just giving ESPN ideas at this point.
That would be good, like a face-to-face.
But yeah, essentially, what were we saying?
I mean, we were talking about F1, then we went to the Storm.
I don't know, yeah. We're all over the shop. But
all over the shop.
Yeah, it was a good race weekend if you take away Max Verstappen, in my opinion.
Yes. Moving on, another thing that happened recently in the weekend was UFC 290, I think it was. UFC 290.
291.
I think 291 Sydney, or was that 291?
Pretty sure it was 291. I know more about UFC than you do.
Okay, well, it's one of them. Justin Gaethje head kick KO Dustin Poirier.
A la Leon Edwards.
It was in the same place. A la Leon Edwards for the BMF title.
291.
291, okay, good job. So, that was kind of surprising. Obviously, Dustin won the first fight. Gaethje hasn't KO'd someone in years, so... and he never throws head kicks, so it was very surprising.
Yeah.
But good on him. He's set himself up for a title fight now with the winner of Oliveira and Makhachev, which will be interesting.
Well, he looked out of it. Like, he looked like he was, going to go into, fighting, ranked 5 guys to ranked 10 guys. He just didn't think he would get that title shot ever again. He looked on form a couple years ago. I think it was during COVID.
Before he fought Khabib, I thought this guy is fucking amazing.
But now, he's back to it after a stunning finish. So yeah, really good to see from him. Poirier looks good. Doesn't look like he can beat anyone other than Conor McGregor at the moment. So bit tough. He's in a very, very tough division, but still, I mean, he's a bit hot and cold. That guy.
It was a pretty good card apart from that.
Alex Pereira
beat Jan. So
surprisingly, it's just setting up another Pereira-Izzy fight, isn't it?
Yeah, so Pereira's probably going to fight for the vacant light heavyweight belt now against Yuri Prochazka probably.
And then he moves up.
If he can win that, then it does set up the trilogy, which would be a massive fight. But Alex Pereira has said he wants to do the trilogy at middleweight, which is interesting.
Which Dana's like, nobody. In Conor McGregor's words, you'll do what you're told.
You'll do what you're told, mate. You defend your fucking belt. But, I mean, beating Yuri's going to be tough. That's a tough fight. So, we'll see.
Derek Lewis, stunning.
Derek Lewis,
KO.
who apparently retired.
I thought he retired.
No,
I thought he threw his gloves in the ring. I thought
he took his pants off.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought he was waving around. I'm done. No more fighting. Uncle Dana.
Yeah, so
see ya.
His balls was hot after that 30 seconds of work. But
Well, the funny thing is, he said he was going to do some expletives to his wife later that night. But he's been flirting with Ronda Rousey for the past 8 years. I don't know what the hell he's been doing.
Yeah, well,
I don't. Surely he's gotten some bollocking.
He should
when he's got
fight
home from his wife.
Ronda Rousey's husband, Travis Brown, I think it is. He used to be a UFC fighter, Travis Brown. So, I mean, he's retired now, but they could do that fight, I guess, for Ronda Rousey. But yeah, Derek Lewis, he's a free agent now.
So the BMF belt is just Ronda Rousey just standing there.
Ronda Rousey's fine ass. Yeah, so people are saying they want him to sign with PFL so he can fight Francis.
No, please don't.
Because Francis's stupid contract is the PFL has to pay his opponent a minimum of $2 million for the fight. So
how is PFL going to make any money?
They're not. They're literally going to make no money. So,
well, he's fighting Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but that's not with the PFL.
That's not with the PFL.
No, that's with whatever Tyson Fury's promotion is.
But why did PFL allow that then?
Because he said, I'll sign with you if you let me do whatever the fuck I want.
Okay.
So
he's basically can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Derek Lewis flying knee. He was on a 3 or 4 fight losing streak. He looked pretty much done, and now he's come back. It's a new mythical fighter. Apparently, he had a bit more of a 6-pack. So 6-pack. Derek Lewis is the new mythical fighter.
But sad also in that card was Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, sad. Also kind of funny.
Albuquerque.
Just the saddest end to a UFC career probably ever.
He's surely got to be cut now. Surely Uncle Dana's got to have a talk with him. But he just won't. He's that crazy. Like he'll keep fighting till
he's just like his brain has been damaged so badly that it's just
he was already pretty dodgy before he got in the UFC. He was already a bit.
Yeah, but I mean the amount of damage he takes, it's fucked. Every single fight he takes crazy damage. And he's on a 6-fight losing streak now after being on a 12-fight winning streak. So it is one of the saddest fall-offs you'll ever see. Obviously, it all started with the fight against Gaethje. Got knocked out. Well, not knocked out, but they stopped the fight in the 5th round. And ever since then, it's just been
Well, he never got to face Khabib. Never got to face him.
Oh, yeah, but Khabib would have killed him. I mean...
I don't think so.
Oh, bro.
Prime Tony?
Nah, there's no way.
I think Tony could outlast him. In terms of style, if he could survive the early rounds, I think Tony could find him in a choke.
Based on what we've seen, he would have got destroyed.
I think Gaethje was unbelievable in terms of the form, and I think he just ran into the wrong guy at the wrong time.
But like his what we've seen is his striking defense is terrible. His chin is way up.
But that's the thing. Khabib's not gonna He's not a great striker.
He'll find anybody could find Tony's chin. I mean, it's just bad. And he's like. Jiu-jitsu was kind of good in his prime, but like everyone's gotten so much better now that everybody knows how to defend an Imanari roll, which he just does on repeat. But he does, obviously his best move is throwing sand. And I think he was doing some weird shit during this fight as well before he obviously got choked unconscious. And he was doing, I didn't watch the fights live, but he knocked down Bobby Green in the first round. So it's kind of promising signs. And then he got poked in the eye, apparently, when the fight went downhill from there.
That's not good.
So
you never want to see that.
No, but it's because he has shown flashes. Like he knocked down Chandler in the first round as well before getting front kick to the face. So he shows like a flash. And then he just dies.
So yeah, that was basically it. I mean, Kevin Holland, cheers.
Kevin Holland, yeah.
Who gives a fuck? But yeah, I think that's a good UFC card. I was sick again during that day, so I didn't really get a chance to watch it. But I looked at the card. I'm like, fuck, I maybe should have just snuck my way down to the pub and just watched it. Next card
is in Sydney,
UFC 292,
and they don't have a main event yet.
Is this the one in Sydney?
Yeah,
the one I'm looking at.
Yeah,
with Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling.
No. Oh, sorry, that one's in Boston. Next one's in Sydney. The one after that's in Sydney.
Okay. I was going to say, why would they be fucking... Okay, so UFC 293. Even worse. I mean, Kai Kara France and Manel Carpe and Carlos Ulberg and Ja Dong Eun.
Yeah, so they're pretty much fucked because that card's in 5 weeks, I believe. And
Sydney. This is what you're taking back to Sydney, Dana.
Yes.
Are you fucking serious?
They ruined it because the Whittaker Duplessis fight was too close to it. So they can't back up and fight in Sydney.
But even if you had that on the card, the rest sucks ass.
No, but it would have been Duplessis Izzy as the main event. And then I think they maybe thought they could do Volk someone, but Volk can't turn around that quickly either. He just fought. So they fucked it with the timing. They should have just done a fight night.
This is one of the biggest cities in the world.
First time they've been back in almost a decade.
The biggest cities in the world. I mean, and you take, what was it? Where was this last card? Canada? Where was this last card?
Vegas? No, it was Utah.
You fucking hold this card in Utah, but when you go to Sydney, one of the biggest metropolitan cities in the world, you're fucking Kai Kara France. I get he's from isn't he New Zealander?
Yeah, he's Kiwi.
What the best fighter on the card's a New Zealander.
Well, Ty's on the card as well, but
where I didn't see him.
Yeah, it doesn't say it on there, but he is on there.
For fuck's sake.
But yeah, and the tickets have already sold out. Like once again, impossible to get tickets.
You bring a shit to Utah.
Yeah, and pretty much the minimum price for tickets was like $600, and they sold out in 2 seconds.
Thank God you didn't get any. Jesus Christ!
I know. I was almost happy I didn't because it's like a shit card. So
I mean,
that's disappointing.
What the hell? Like surely, like the customer service line would be like, imagine working there. You'd just be picking up phones. Hey, I bought a $2,000 ticket and I'm watching Kai Kara France as the main event. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Sort your shit out and get a main event.
Yeah. I think they're trying to do Adesanya Strickland, which would be an entertaining build-up because Strickland is like...
Strickland, Adesanya, that is the biggest mismatch I've ever seen in my life.
But imagine if Strickland wins. Like the most cancelable UFC champ they've ever had.
That'd be funny.
He just gets on the mic and starts going, "Fuck you! I just beat that Chinese faggot."
Yeah, it'd be quite an entertaining situation watching Sean Strickland be a UFC champion. I don't think it would happen. No way, shape, or how. But you know, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. So that's that. I mean, also Spence versus Crawford happened. Did you see that?
No, it was on the same day. It was boxing, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care about
that. That's kind of like this era's Mayweather-Pacquiao type of fight. And Crawford fucked him up, so good on him.
No, well, I don't think it's really that big.
It's not that big in terms of star power, but they're like pound for pound one. And
yeah, but
they're in top.
The heavyweight division is the boxing division at the moment. So
they don't fight each other. So
well, that's the problem. Because they don't fucking fight each other. But in terms of the big names, it's in the heavyweight division at the moment. But yeah, Tyson Fury's fighting Ngannou, so that will go shockingly bad for Ngannou. I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
But I love how Tyson Fury's manager was saying, like, before the announcement, he was like, we're going to have a groundbreaking, revolutionary fight announcement coming up. No one's ever seen anything like it before. And then it just turns out to be Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, oh, what the fuck, mate?
Can you not just fight Joshua? Or
like you just fought... Who was the old guy they just fought? What? The old English guy that he beat him up 3 times.
I don't even know.
He's black.
Dillian White.
No.
Oh, yeah. I know you mean.
Chisora,
yeah.
Yeah. So he's just beat up a 40-something-year-old Derek Chisora for no reason, and now he's fighting Francis Ngannou because he's not obviously going to say it, but he is scared. He's not scared, but he doesn't want the Usyk fight, I'd say.
No, I disagree. You cannot say Tyson Fury is scared.
Well, the way he negotiates is so impossible.
Well, yeah, but I think that's just because they're all greedy. I think the reason why Usyk and Joshua and Fury and the reason why Fury Wilder never happened was because they were all greedy. The reason why Fury, the reason why Joshua Wilder didn't happen was because they were greedy. The reason why Fury Joshua didn't happen was because both sides were greedy. Usyk, I don't think he comes across as a greedy guy, but I think Fury is just...
Fury would be like...
I don't think he's doing it because he's scared. I think he's just doing it because...
No, he's not scared, but he's... For sure, it's a tough matchup. Obviously, Usyk beat Joshua twice, so he's fucking good.
But Joshua's overrated.
He's overrated, but he's still...
But Fury's the greatest heavyweight fighter in the world. So...
Yeah, but his biggest challenge would be Usyk.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit... It's just a flexing context, really. Because there's so many different promotions, there's so many different agents. It's so complicated to get a deal done between the top heavyweights, who are the biggest names. That's why it's so difficult. Well, I mean, Pacquiao Mayweather took fucking like 10 years to set up.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time, we asked for Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, like 8 years ago.
Well, apparently it's going to happen this year. So Joshua Wilder, but they've
But
both
that's 8 years too late.
they've both booked fights before then. So I think they're meant to fight in October or something. And they're both like, oh, we want to fight someone else before then, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Because you could lose or you could win and take a bunch of damage so you can't fight in October. So Joshua's fighting Dillian White again.
Oh, mate, come on. How is he still getting contracts? The guy gets beat up by every top heavyweight. Like, why is he still taking these fights? Can you not, like, surely I get it, the money, but, like, at some point you got to look at your, like, reputation and your, like, health, and you got to be like, maybe I shouldn't fight that level of guy anymore. Like, the little meddling, like, sort of big UK boxers, I can fight. But the top dogs, what are you doing?
But even still, I'm not, like, confident Joshua can beat him because Joshua's not looked the same since the first Ruiz fight ever again. So, and, like, Dillian White, the first fight was competitive. Dillian White hurt him in that fight before getting knocked out, but it'll be interesting. I mean, Joshua's literally just turned into like a little jab boxer. He's scared of throwing a punch at this point. So we'll see. Hopefully he can just say fuck it and go back to the old Joshua because he should be in his prime. He's what, 33, something like that, 34. Yeah. So, we'll see. Hopefully all the big fights get made in heavyweight boxing. So,
well, yeah. The Fury Deontay Wilder went probably a fight too long, but it was still a great sort of contest because they were two elite level guys. And
well, it's one elite level guy and one guy.
Well, Deontay Wilder was still elite. You may say his boxing skill isn't as great as the others.
He's incredibly powerful.
But the knockout power that guy could get.
And people are going to say that's what is going to happen with Francis.
Yeah, it's worse with Francis. At least Deontay Wilder had a jab. Like, he had, moves.
But I think Francis has more power, but,
Francis has the most power of anyone in the world. But he will not be able to touch. If Deontay Wilder cannot touch Tyson Fury, I can guarantee you won't be able to, mate.
Yeah, but I can see Francis literally just sprinting at Tyson, copying a jab to the face, hoping he doesn't get knocked out, and then just clubbing Tyson with the most unco-looking punch and knocking him out. Yeah,
well, look, we'll see. And, hopefully, big fights get made. But, yeah, it's been a great episode. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, even though I'm a bit sick at the moment. There was lots of sport to talk about, and I thought we did a good job covering all the bases.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Women's World Cup quickly coming out. Yeah. Good stuff. The Tildas, they made it through. Good to see them, getting some.
Well, apparently it's going to be a national holiday
if they win.
If they win the World Cup, yeah, that's what Albo said. So
good on them.
Win them.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but win the game.
Look, just maybe play a bit better than what you did against Nigeria, and then we should be good. That game was a bit hard to watch, but
Sammy Kerr's back apparently.
Well, yeah, good. I mean they've done it without Sam Kerr, so you never know. They could
one of the best players in the world. But yeah, good on the Tills, and hopefully win the World Cup so we can get a holiday. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I've been thoroughly enjoyed it with my co-host Dopey over here. Any final words to say?
I think that's about it. I mean, yeah, that's about it.
Good send off.
Good
All
stuff.
Right. Follow, like, subscribe on every platform, and see you next week. Adios.
Peace out.